Rotherham are a team that have bounced around the Football League for pretty much their entire existence. They've gone between the Championship level to the League 2 level, but they've never made it into the Premier League. Until now. I'm giving myself 5 years to establish Rotherham as a Premier League team in what is my hardest rebuild yet. And trust me, you won't believe how difficult those final 2 seasons are. Okay, so I'm using an updated database which has Rotherham down in League 1 after their relegation from the Championship. And so I've only managed to make one signing for the team, and that is Jack Fitzwater. He's just going to help out the defence, as the defence is a little bit shallow in its depth. And if we have a look at the best 11 of the team, he actually slots in there in the right centre-back role. So I'm going with a relatively standard 4-2-2 with 2 wingers pushed up the field. I think we are probably the best team in the League 1 level this year, so we should be going out on the attack. And we've got a really good forward up front in Johnson Clark-Harris. He's going to be partnered by Jordan Hugel, so hopefully they can get plenty of goals for us this season and get us into that Championship where we belong. And if we check out the schedule so far, and we started with a 3-1 win against Shrewsbury Town. We then lost to Hull in the Carabao Cup 2-0, but that's perfectly fine. I don't mind getting knocked out of that. Let's concentrate on league football. We then beat Mansfield away from home 3-0, followed by a 1-0 win against Bristol Rovers at home, and then travelling to Barnsley and winning 1-0, which is a really good effort because this is another team that will be pushing for promotion with us. And so to start the season with that perfect run of results, we are of course top of the table with Wrexham just behind us and Lincoln as well on 10 points. This is a great start to the season. We should be getting promoted. We've got a team that is better than League 1 level, probably in the lower Championship level, so we need to progress that further. Let's see how we do for season number 1. Okay, so 1 season down. Can we get ourselves back into the Championship? And of course we can. We have finished top of the table, 9 points clear of Lincoln City with just 9 losses for the season. A really good points total of 99. So we had Johnson Clark-Harris scoring 26 goals for us. Malik Wilkes and Johnson Clark-Harris also getting in the average rating. And Andre Green getting 11 assists for the season. Let's have a look at our FA Cup run. And we did get knocked out in the 5th round by Derby County. But what I wanted to show you was this incredible 7-2 win against Queen's Park Rangers at Loftus Road. A hat-trick to Sam Nombe. A wonderful way to start the FA Cup campaign and get us through to the 4th round. And in that 4th round, we knocked out Aston Villa 2-1. And in fact, we were 1-0 down for the majority of the game before Clark-Harris and then Hakeem Odoffin scoring late on to see us through into the 5th round as we knock out Premier League side Villa. And if you have a look at the end of our season, it was a bit ropey in January. We had quite a few losses, in fact 4 losses in January. After that, we only had 2 losses for the rest of the season in League 1, and we had plenty of wins. Our draws were high scoring. Birmingham 3-3 and Barnsley 4-4. So we're scoring plenty of goals. We've got a really good strike force. Let's hope that goes really well for us next season in the Championship. So checking out the stats for the first season, and of course Clark-Harris on 33 goals, with Nombe on 19, Hugel on 18. So Nombe ended up being our second striker mainly, with Hugel being there as well. Malik Wilkes and Hungbo both got plenty of goals too. We're going to have to replace Malik Wilkes. He has been a fantastic acquisition for the squad, but he is on loan. He did get 10 assists as well, so that's a great season from him. Andre Green, Reece James and Cohen Bramall all got in double-figure assists as well. And our budget is a really healthy £10 million with £30,000 in the wage budget per week. So I think we can make a little bit extra on top of that with some of the players in our team. And let's get some really good players in the door. Let's move on to season 2. So there's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing in these transfer windows because we're going to be getting a lot of players in on free and then seeing if we can get some kind of money from our players going out the door. We did manage to get £1.8 million for Christ Tia from Oxford United as he goes out the door, and only one transfer out, and that was Sean Raggett. So he played a decent amount of football for us last season, but he goes out to MK Dons for next year. Before the changeover of seasons, we brought in Aaron Namana, mainly because his pace is ridiculous, so he should hopefully do a job for us down that right wing. We brought in Michael Rose as another option in the back line. Kyle Joseph came in as another option up front. Carl Edwards came in as another winger who can play on both sides and has already started 3 games for us this season. And one of our better free signings is Marcus McGuan, who's probably going to be our main ball-winning midfielder in the centre of the park. He's already a championship level player and he comes in from Bristol City on a free. So that's all of the free transfer players. Now let's have a look at the money we spent to get some more players in. And first off, a really good winger for this level in Josh Bowler. He's coming in for £2 million from Preston. Sean Lavery comes in as another backup option up front, but with a really good finishing stat of 15 with great bravery and aggression. So he's coming in for £300,000 from Cambridge. And then I did a bit of scouring of some South American teams to see if we get some bargains there. I managed to go through quite a few Uruguayan teams to see if any of the players would be good enough to play at our level. And I have picked up Lucas Agazzi, so he is going to be our starting right back, but he could also push up to the right wing. I like my right backs to be good attacking players as well as having a bit of defense there. He's got a tackling of 12 and marking is a bit low, so hopefully that can improve, but he's really good going forward. This guy's going to be our starting left-sided centre-back. Lucas Monzon is coming in from Racing Club Montevideo, already heading, marking, tackling, really, really good, great strength. He's got some pace about him, some aggression and bravery. This is someone who I think is fantastic for the championship level. He's coming in for £1.2 million. And then Esteban Obregon is coming in for £1.5 million. He couldn't get a work permit, but we've given him one of the ESC places. He's already scored 2 goals and got an assist for us this season. So tactics wise, we're not doing anything different other than just locking in Agazzi into that right back role so he can become proficient at that. He doesn't start that as a natural position, but hopefully by the end of the season he will be a natural, because I think he's going to be a fantastic fullback for us this season and going forward as well. Our schedule has been mostly good except for the start of the championship season. We did knock out Middlesbrough in the first round of the Carabao Cup, but we travelled to Lincoln City, who came up with us from League One, and we lost 4-1 after being 1-0 up in the second minute of the game. But we then hosted relegated side Bournemouth and beat them 1-0 with Clark Harris scoring. So that's a fantastic result. We then drew 1-1 with Cardiff, and then we hosted another relegated side from the Premier League in Southampton and beat them 3-0 as well. We then knocked out a Premier League team, Everton, on penalties in the Carabao Cup. What a fantastic result this one is. And then beating Oxford United 4-1. So that means we are currently in 4th place for the season with 10 points, 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. A great start to the year. Our aim is just to survive in this league, but I think with that start to the year and the team that we've built so far, I think we should be pushing for a top half of the table finish. Let's see if we can do that. Let's find out our results for season number 2. Here we go, 2 seasons down, and we've come in 4th place, but we have not been promoted through the playoffs. Oh, that is frustrating. What a fantastic season that is for a team that was supposed to fight bravely against relegation. We have actually finished in the playoff places, but just couldn't get through. And have a look at these semi-final games. So we played Hull in the semi-final, and we drew 5-5 with them away from home in Hull. But then unfortunately they scored 3 first half goals to beat us 3-2 at our ground, which means they went through to the final, and they actually lost to Bournemouth in the final. So Bournemouth went straight back up. And again, Johnson Clark Harris topped the league for goals with 27. He also topped the league with the rating 7.17, with Bowler a couple of points behind him. Clark Harris got 7 Man of the Match awards and Josh Bowler got 12 assists for the season, which is why he had a really good average rating. If we actually have a look at Clark Harris, so you can see his finishing is really strong. He's lost his pace now, so his pace was better than that last season. That's kind of gone away, but he's got really good strength and balance, so playing up front, you can see where he's going to be getting his goals from. In the other competitions, it was another 5th round loss for us, this time 4-1 to Newcastle, so they did kind of batter us at our place. But we did beat a Premier League team in Luton 2-1, and prior to that we did beat Millwall 5-1 in the third round. If we check out our squad stats, and Clark Harris, unsurprisingly, is way out ahead in our goals with 29. We got Sam Nombe getting 16. We saw him earlier on getting a couple of goals in some games. And then if we check out the assists, it's Josh Bowler and Lucas Agazzi getting in double figures. So a really good effort, I think, to have Agazzi in the team. He's done a fantastic job for us. One of the things I'm now doing is really starting to turn over the staff. As you can see here, I've got a new chief scout coming in. Wherever I see a deficiency in the staff with someone generally coming close to running out of contract, I replace them with a much better person for that role. And so gradually the staff is getting better and better every single year. It is something you really need to focus on in these rebuilds, because you can progress up the table nice and quickly with the right kind of people around you. We've got £6.3 million for next season, £16,000 per week in the wage budget left over. Not a great deal of money to work with this season, but I'm sure we can do something, because we do have a bit of value in this squad to move around, and there's always plenty of free transfers for the championship level. Let's move on to season number 3. But before we get to season number 3, there is no better time than right now to help out small content creators who are doing FM24 work. So if you want to give me a massive helping hand, click on that subscribe button for me, please. That would be absolutely wonderful. Make sure you like the video as well, and leave a comment down below if there's any other team you would like me to do a rebuild for. But let's get back into it now. Okay, plenty more wheeling and dealing this season, with Shane Lavery going out to Blackpool for just under £500,000. The other two players that got some money, Nemana, although he had some great pace and did get some goals for us, he didn't quite get a spot towards the end of the season, so he went out for a little bit of money, and Joseph went out for up to £300,000. Before the changeover seasons, I raided South America again and brought in Martin Luciano to be our left back. He should be our left back pretty much from now on, I'd imagine. I'm not sure whether he'll be good enough for the Premier League, but let's see if we can actually get there first. And then free transfers galore the rest of the way. So first off, we got Jason Cummings. This is a player I've used previously, and he does a fantastic job in the Championship. Probably not quite someone who will get many goals in the Premier League, but he will get goals in the Championship. Fortunately, only one goal so far this season, but I'm sure he'll get plenty more. And we brought in a player from Barcelona. In fact, he had 4 games for Barcelona last year. He plays mainly for their second side, but he did have a couple of games in the Barcelona first team in the last couple of seasons, so we will count that as a Barcelona player for sure. Solbrin comes in as a backup keeper because we did need a new backup. Lazar Jovic might be the best signing of our season so far, so he can play on either wing or up front. And if you have a look, 5 goals, 2 assists in 5 games. What a start he has had so far for us. Arthur Zagre is coming in for free as well. He comes in from Excelsior, and he can play anywhere up the left-hand side. We have a new defensive midfielder. This guy is coming in from Colombia, and that is Juan Manuel Zapata. He is fantastic for this level. Someone who could even do a job in a lower Premier League team as well. And finally, we have a Liverpool player coming in. Liverpool in Uruguay, that is. And that is the Uruguayan Enzo Castillo, who can play anywhere along the back line. He is happy to be a backup for us. And if we check the best 11 for this season, we see Cummings and Clark Harris being our men up front, with Monzon and Mbake being the men in the middle of the back line. And in fact, there are only 2 positions on the field now that I have not changed over, and that is Clark Harris up front and Dawson as the goalkeeper. Schedule-wise, and we have not lost yet. So we started with a 4-1 win in the Carabao Cup against Peterborough. We drew 2-0 with Swansea away from home to start the championship season. Not a bad effort, that one. Much better effort in beating Coventry City 3-0 at home, and then beating Oxford 1-0. We drew with West Brom 1-1. And then we knocked out Leicester City in the Carabao Cup. A fantastic effort with Jason Cummings getting a double. And finally, we beat Bristol City 2-1 at home. So what that means for us is, again, we are in 4th place to start the season. As we saw before, Lazar Jovic is having a great start to his life in England. Okay, can we go a little bit better than last year and actually get ourselves promoted? Let's go on to the end of season number 3 and find out. 3 seasons down in our Rotherham rebuild, can we actually get ourselves any better than we did last year? And you betcha we can. We have finished in 2nd place to get ourselves promoted, 2 goals ahead of Nottingham Forest, who came in 3rd place. They got themselves promoted through the playoffs with a 3-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday, but let's not worry about them. We finished 1 point off league leader Southampton in an incredible season for the club. We didn't actually have anyone in any of the player stats, not even in the yellow cards, which is unusual for one of my teams, even though we were the top goal scorers for the year with 95 goals. And competitions wise, we did absolutely nothing in the FA Cup because we got knocked out by Chelsea 3-2 in the third round, and we got knocked out by Arsenal in the fourth round of the Carabao Cup 4-2. But we don't care about that. We've got ourselves promoted into the Premier League in just 3 seasons. 2 promotions out of 3 seasons already. What a fantastic effort this has been. And let's check out those stats. And Jason Cummings was the man who finished on top of our table for goals with 22. Clark Harris didn't play as many games this season by look at things. He had 17 goals. Nombe and Majovic had 12 and 10. And unfortunately, that is because Majovic had a broken ankle during the season. That is why he has not played as many games as he otherwise would have. For our assists, it's Josh Boulder again getting 14, Edwards with 10, and Agatzi and Clark Harris both getting 9. And let's check out what we've got for the transfer budget for next season, and it is £32 million with £200,000 in the wage budget. I think we're going to have to look at the free transfer market once again. Maybe we can get 1 or 2 big players that can improve certain positions in our squad, but again, it's going to be tough. Our reputation is nowhere near these other Premier League teams. Let's see what I can do for season number 4. Okay, so this is going to be tough. So during the season, Millwall activated the minimum fee release clause for Marcus McGuan. So he went to £1 million to Millwall when he was actually playing games for us this season. So he has lost a chance to get himself promoted. And then a couple other players, Dylan Phillips and Michael Rose, went out for a bit of money. After the changeover seasons, we managed to move on Jack Fitzwater to Cardiff for just over £2 million with some add-ons. Chris Thornton went out for almost nothing. But then Juan Manuel Zapata went out to a Saudi Arabian club for up to £16.5 million. So that was money that we really needed, despite the fact he was probably our best player. Martin Luciano then went to Middlesbrough for £3.1 million as well, and Zagreb went out for a little bit, along with Castillo. So the first player that I brought him is Diego Calcaterra. Hopefully he can be one of those players that fills that gap that we have in the defensive midfield positions, with both of them going this season. And then our new goalkeeper is going to be Mikolaj Bijanski. He is coming in from Witzo. And I think this guy is an upgrade on Dawson, especially with Dawson starting to lose some of his attributes. So another player coming in from Liverpool, that is Renzo Machado. He's actually done really well in our friendly, so hopefully he can get a couple of goals for us up front. He's probably someone that we're looking for next season if he gets a decent amount of improvement. We brought in Lewis Gibson as a backup to our centre backs, just to give us a bit more of an option down there, because you always need extra centre backs in the Premier League. Excuse the Russian, but Vladislav Shitov is going to be running our lines up front. He should hopefully get us a couple of goals, I'd imagine. He's got good pace and acceleration. His finishing is a little bit low, but he should be able to get himself in position to get some goals for us. And then Edvard Tazgevs is coming in. He's going to be one of the other players who's going to fill the centre of the park. I think he's a fantastic defensive midfielder for a lower Premier League team. He's coming in from Luton Town. And another Luton Town player is coming in, Mauro Junior. He can play anywhere along the left wing or along the right wing if you absolutely needed him, but he's going to be a better option down the left wing for us. And finally, the last player that I brought in for money is Nilton Varela, who's coming in from Burnley. He is going to play that left back role, and I think he is a bit of an upgrade for that left back role that we have. He's not exactly Premier League level, but we can't really get too many Premier League level players, so we've got to get good championship level players and see if we've got a tactic that's strong enough for them to survive in the Premier League. 3 other players came in on free transfers. The first one is Charlie MacArthur, another backup option in the centre of defence. He can also play at left back as well. Kerr Smith is the other way. He can play as a centre back or a right back. And finally, a new starting right back. He's a bit of an upgrade on Lucas Agatzi, who I don't think will cut it in the Premier League. Taylor Gardner-Hickman is coming in from Bristol City on a free transfer. And the last free transfer is probably the best one of all. Dion Drenabello is going to be leading the line for us up front. Hopefully he can score some goals for us, enough that we can actually survive. So it's tough for us out there. We're getting players in who are probably not Premier League quality because our reputation just won't allow us to get that next level of player. But we're doing what we can, and we started the season with a 3-2 win against Tottenham Hotspur. What a fantastic effort this was. And Drenabello actually got a goal in the 92nd minute, a minute after Tottenham equalised. We then went to Arsenal and got absolutely thumped 6-0. We then hosted Forest and we lost 1-0, so that's probably a disappointing loss. We need to be beating these teams that are around us because we're not going to get too many results like the Spurs result. We progressed forward in the Carabao Cup 4-3 against Chesterfield, but maybe we should be focusing on other things. And then lost 5-2 to West Ham in London. But then finally we got knocked out in the Carabao Cup to Chelsea, so that's okay. They've got Samuel and Marodion, so they are going to be a strong team up front this season. We have won one game, which is better than 4 of the teams in this league. Let's hope we can just try and find a way to survive. That is all we want to do for this season. Let's go on to the end of season number 4. Okay, we are 4 seasons down. Can we actually establish ourselves in the Premier League? Can we even survive? We can by the absolute skin of our teeth. We have survived by 2 points with 30 points for the season and a horrible minus 49 goal difference. Somehow we have managed to survive because there are 3 teams who are even worse than what we were this season in Brentford, Southampton and Leicester. We finally got someone up there in the stats for the season, and that was Diego Calcaterra, who got 11 yellow cards. That's what I want as my ball-winning midfielder. I want them to get stuck in. If we check out the other competitions, we actually made it through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, so we had a couple of wins there, then got knocked out to League One West Brom 4-1. In the 4th round though, we did beat a championship side in Hull 2-0, and in the 3rd round of the FA Cup we beat another championship side, Preston, 1-0. If we have a look at the schedule, we didn't win a game from mid-February. In fact, a 3-2 win against bottom side Leicester on the 13th of February was the last time we won a game. But we had 2 very important draws in drawing with Brighton 2-2 at home and Everton 1-1 at home with a couple of games to go in the season before we got absolutely tonked 7-0 by United at Old Trafford, with Garnacho getting a hat-trick in that game. Checking out our squad stats, and unsurprisingly we had no players getting into double figures for goals this season, with both Cummings and Clark Harris both getting 9 goals. And the best we could do for assists was just 5 with Bowler and Mauro Jr. And no one got a 7 average rating, though our keeper, Beganski, got pretty damn close. So that was a fantastic effort to bring him in for this season. In the transfer budget, we got up to £40 million now. We don't have much in the wage, so we're going to move some of that around. Our reputation has increased just slightly, so maybe we can actually start getting a little bit more of Premier League standard players. Let's see if I can wheel and deal something crazy to survive once again for season number 5. Okay, season number 5, and the only one that went out before the changeover seasons that really mattered was Kerr Smith, going for £3.3 million. So good for us to get a bit of money for someone we brought in on a free transfer. We then sold Martin Moorman. As you would have seen in the previous season, he came in for just a little bit of money. So he went out for up to £2.8 million. He could never get a work permit, so he never actually played for the club. We somehow got some sort of money for Cameron Dawson, £200,000. A great servant of the club, but he's now moving on with a much better keeper in our ranks. Lewis Gibson then went out for £2.7 million. So once again, slight bit of profit for him. We've got a lot of defenders now, so we've actually been able to upgrade just a little bit, so he went out. Agazzi just would not hack the fact that he was now a backup, and he really kicked up a stink, so he needed to go. He went out for a little bit of money to Mansfield, and unfortunately Lazar Majovic had to go out. He never came back really that well after his injury, so he's gone out to Barnsley for up to £1.6 million. On the way in, we brought a fantastic young 19-year-old Ivorian from Fulham called Ibrahim Toure, and with his pace and acceleration, I am going to stick him on the left wing all season, and hopefully by the end of the season he will become an incredible player. I then brought in Gabriel Slanina on a free transfer to fight it out with Beganski in that goalkeeping position. Dango Ouattara came in from Bournemouth, so he can play on either wing or potentially up front if we ever needed him there. Rafael Durasinmi He comes in from West Ham, so hopefully he can be a backup to our strikers. He's got good pace and a good finishing stat, so if he gets the chance, he should be able to put some goals away. And the last of our free transfers is Marco Pellegrino coming in from Milan. He's been out on loan to Lecce for the last 2 seasons. He will probably be a backup to our centre-backs, or he might play a few games as a starter. I then had 2 more players coming in for a bit of money. Firstly, Marco Nasti. He is going to be another striker up top. He will probably be partnering Shitov as our 2 strikers. And finally, another bit of grit and muscle in the midfield with Enzo Leopold coming in. He is going to be our ball-winning midfielder, most likely in defensive midfielder. He's coming in from Hanover for £6.5 million, which I think is a really good deal. And as I said before, I am going to lock in Toure as our winger. He is going to be there the entire season. We are going to go on the attack this season because I think we just need to start scoring goals. And if we check out the best 11, it actually takes him out and puts Mauro Jr. there, who didn't really have a good run last season at left wing. So I think we need to give this youngster a really good job because his pace is going to cause all sorts of issues for opposition. Checking out our schedule, and we started off with a fantastic effort, a 1-1 draw with Arsenal. Nilton Varela, the left back, getting a goal in that game. We then had another good effort. We lost 3-2 to Liverpool at Anfield, but at least we didn't get blown away by them this time. We then hosted their main rivals in Everton and beat them 2-0 with 2 first half goals to Nasty and Shitov. Fantastic pairing up there. We then lost to Wigan in the Carabao Cup on penalties, but again, who cares? We want to survive in the Premier League this season. And then we drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace. So hopefully that Nasty Shitov pairing can really propel us forward to a better result than last season. We need to get a substantial amount more points, I would imagine, to try and fight off relegation this year, because it's never going to be 30 points to survive in every single year. That's just not going to happen. We need to do better than that. So let's see what we can do for season number 5. Okay, the final season. We are 5 years into this rebuild. Can we establish Rotherham as a Premier League side? Here we go. And we can. We have finished in 15th place, 37 points, which of course some seasons would see you relegated, but this year it sees us clear by 6 points. So pretty comfortable, to be honest, and a minus 26 goal difference, so that is so much better than last year. If we have a look, we actually scored 50 goals this year. We conceded 76, which isn't the worst. It's in fact the equal second worst, but it's not the worst, and our goals were way better than any team that was below us. In the FA Cup, we lost to Bournemouth, who are still in the Championship 2-0 in the 3rd round, but that's fine because that meant we could just focus on our Premier League journey. And if we have a look at the schedule, again, it was a horrible finish to the season, although we did manage to win a game in April and a game in March. And in fact, that game in March was against Tottenham, just after we drew 2-2 at the Etihad Stadium with Man City. We have done pretty well, I think, to survive. Vladislav Shitov getting a hat-trick against the Spurs. And that Nasty Shitov pairing did fantastic. 12 goals to Nasty, 17 to Shitov. It doesn't look amazing, but when you just think that this team was a League One team just a few seasons ago, that is a wonderful effort for these two players. They've now got quite a fair bit of value in this squad, so if I was to continue it forward, I could probably sell a few of these players and then start getting in plenty more better players with the reputation starting to go up. Assist-wise, it was a great effort to put Ibrahim Toure as the left winger. He got 9 assists and led the team, with Nasty getting 8, who probably set up his mate Shitov quite a fair bit, I would imagine. And would you look at this, if I actually went forward to another season, I'd have £90 million, although I'm not sure I could actually do much with it because I can't buy players that are worth that much because of our reputation. We have a wage budget of just under £100,000, so if I was to go forward another season, I think I would try and wheel and deal my way into getting up into the top half of the table. Well, this has been so much fun. I love doing these lower league rebuilds because you come up with players that you just never have heard of before and you've never used in previous games. On the screen soon will be my rebuild of the Wigan Athletic Football Club, where they started with a financial mismanagement penalty and I managed to somehow get them up into the Premier League. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and of course like the video if you've got this far. That must mean this has been a fun video for you to watch. Leave a comment down below if there's any other teams you would like me to take on, and of course the most important thing is to make sure you guys have yourselves a wonderful day.